Welcome to another episode of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. And today we bring back to the nation our favorite beat writer, Mr. Chris Franklin, my guy. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Bird Gang? I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Another day in practice is in the books, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just grinding, lives, videos, dropping videos today. So it's been a busy day, but hey, the best for last. Got my boy on here again to go ahead and give us some breakdown of what's been going on with our birds.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. It seemed like it was a busy day. Oh man, it's like between the sun, between Sirianni, head coach Nick Sirianni talking, and some of the stuff that went off the injury wise, the cards and the trainers. Man, it's been busy. They definitely made some moves and did a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the moves you said today. Who we pick up again? We got
Mark and Michelle, Sonny
and
Michel's brother. Yeah, one too. Yeah, he's a wide receiver. Basically, the Eagles claimed him off the waivers from the Panthers, who waived him on Monday. He's basically replacing Michael Walker, and who left with who the Eagles waived for an injury designation. Walker, he was already day to day. He's already limited heading into today's practice with a foot injury, and then when the cornerbacks and the wide receivers were going one-on-one, seems like he re-aggravated it, and they had to take him into the locker room. And then you get the news of this happening today, so it didn't like it bode well. So it looks like
before he got hurt, wasn't he doing pretty good?
He was doing all right. I mean, the first couple of days of camp, he flashed a little bit, and then as everybody started to come in a little bit, it started to get back into form. He started to come back to more into the pack, and then some other people leapfrogged him. You saw flashes. He can catch the ball. He's made some nice moves when he came into his route running. He set up a couple of defensive backs a couple of times, but that was a little rough. But to see that he had to be waived for that, you tell it could have been a long time. So it feels like Michelle's going to have to come in immediately and not only learn an offense extremely quickly. I doubt he's going to play Thursday, but who knows? He may play, especially in something like that. But he's going to learn quickly and quickly impress because some of these guys are starting to really shine a little bit.
Right. And then you said we had some injuries here.
Yep. Yeah. Andre Dillard, he's his knee sprain. Sounds like he's going to be out for the rest of the preseason, and which for him, basically that sealed the left tackle position for Jordan Mailata. I mean, Dillard was already having some issues. When you look at it, I still remember looking at open practice on Sunday, and he was to see that bull rush that Josh Sweat put on him, almost put him on his back. It was just, I mean, Dillard, you would thought coming into this competition that you would see the best from him, but it didn't look to be. So yeah, Mailata coming on the left side and doing that. They have Kayvon Wallace, with Rodney McLeod who's been working on the far field trying to get back from the torn ACL. Now you have Kayvon Wallace, who is now week to week with the groin strain. So the safety depth is really being tested right now. So you have that. There's some other guys that are playing with some lingering stuff here and there that are day-to-day are limited. But if it was I think if it was a game, you'd probably see them. So it was eventful.
Who was playing that safety you said again? Who you say?
Well, they had Harris Adams. They were in there. You saw Graylin Arnold. I think Graylin Arnold's played it in times I really focus on him in some of the stuff. I thought he played all right, and he's fighting for a job as well too. So you saw a little mixture of stuff on the back end, trying some guys out. So it was overall the depth's going to be tested, and I want to see how they perform Thursday night against the Steelers.
Yes. Let's go back to that open practice, my guy. I wish I was there, man. I had my co-host on Bird Gang Nation Uncensored, Mr. Uncensored over there watching, and he gave us some live footage from there. And I was watching on TV as much as I can, but I know you were there, so give me some breakdowns of that one.
Well, first off, it was nice to have fans back in there. I mean, it's been months since you've seen it. There's only 3 games, I think it was last year, that they actually had the fans in there, and to actually hear the cheer. I mean, first off, to see the ovation that Zach Ertz got when he came onto the field, given everything, you can tell he's still beloved in his town. But overall, I think the first thing was the fans seeing that was great. Then you had what it seemed to be Jalen Hurts was really connected on those deep passes. He had the
Yeah.
one to Quez Watkins when he was doing
Mhm.
one-on-ones. He had one to Rager as well. You just see with the speed that this wide receiver core has, if the offense, and it all comes back to the offensive line, if the offensive line can remain healthy and give them enough time, they're going to put them have enough chances to at least be put up for those 50-50 balls. And given the speed that they have, when you have Smith when he comes back, when you have Rager, when you have Quez Watkins, it became the Quez Watkins show. It felt like that open practice was. You attack
Right.
the down. It was crazy. I saw you saw. But when you see that available, man, it can be something good if they can give him time, Hurts time, if Hurts puts the ball accurately in a position for them to make plays.
Nice, nice, man. That Quest Watkins, how fast does he look live? Is he look like Tyreek Hill speed or
It's fast. Like I still haven't seen Tyreek. Like I want to see Tyreek this year when they play on the Chiefs,
Mhm.
but looking like it's tough to see. Like that's like video, you see him like, oh wow, it's fast, but then you see in person like, okay, yeah, it's right. And with him, with Watkins, it used to be like, okay, you just knew if it was going to be a 9 route, he's going to go fast on the outside. He's going to try to beat his man and just go fast. Now he's incorporating the inside routes too. So he's setting the cornerbacks up, looking like he's going to go deep. And then next thing you know, he makes a couple moves, like one move to set him up, like he's going on the outside. Then he's cutting across the middle of the field, and he's starting to do really well with that. So he's becoming a better all around wide receiver. And I really want to see what he does against a defense that's familiar with him, and he's not familiar with going against a practice every day.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it looks like he was targeted a lot by Flacco today, and Moans has always been targeting him a lot. So, I mean,
What's
over
he
camp,
running
so
with
therefore,
now? Because a lot of Eagle fans want to see him start the way he's doing in practice. Since he's been in practice, he's been definitely tearing it up. You don't hear too much of him having too many bad days. You heard all the other receivers have their days, but Watkins seemed to be consistently good. So, where's he running with? Is he running with the ones or the twos?
he's running with the twos, and he's sprinkled in sometimes with the ones, but mainly he's been consistently running with the twos, and I'm actually okay with that because I think eventually you're going to get Smith. And I think he's your X. Although they're going to move him all around, you have that. I still think they feel really confident in Rager, and they want to
Mhm.
give him a chance because he's developed that chemistry with Hurts in the offseason, been working out with him and everything. So I think he's a former first round pick, so they want to give him every chance to shine.
Mhm.
The thing's going to be is depending on the matchup who they see every week. I think right now they probably want Fulgham to be the third guy because he gives them the height and that size and to
Mhm.
be a target when it comes to those tight windows and the short yards possession guy. But I could see them. I could see a situation where they would move Rager to the slot, move Quez outside because he can get separation, and then have Smith be your X. And I can see stuff where you go four wide. I think he's more apt. I think he'd be better in four wide sets. I think when you roll him in the slot along with Rager, then you have Fulgham and Smith on the outside. I think that works out really well too overall. So there's a lot of combinations they have with this team.
Right.
And the thing is, it's got all potential, but they have to be consistent, and they're all young. So there are going to be times when you see, wow, this play could have been big, but either A, they drop it, B, it was a wrong route inside, C, they weren't on the same page. You'll see that. I think you'll see that early on, especially too. But there's a
Mhm.
lot of potential there.
Yeah, I heard that they've been dropping the ball again, man. That's not good.
It
Like
was a
good, 'cause that's the part that that's what's been our Achilles heel over the last couple of years here. The receivers not doing the only thing they get paid to do, and that's catch the ball.
you think if the Eagles, if I were in the Eagles position, you want to get them out that way right now. I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to the second, third team, they're dealing with new quarterbacks. I mean, ball comes out the hands at different rates, come out different angles, different rates. I mean, I saw Joe Flacco last week throw look like Bernie Kosar throwing sidearm off his back foot, and that ball comes out a different angle, and your receiver trying to catch it differently, a certain way. So it gets a little weird, but that plays a role into it too. But you got to hope that they build some consistency to keep the offense moving forward and can sustain drives.
And what about Devontae? Is he actually still doing the jug? Still, doing any kind of work at all?
He's on the jugs. I thought I saw him, and this is where my eyesight comes in. The poor eyesight comes in bad, but I thought I may have saw him on the side field when everybody else is working on the front on the front side getting work in. But I know mainly he's going to jugs. But he's been the one thing I've really liked is seeing him walk around, looking, trying to get those mental reps in, talking to Aaron Moorhead. He was talking to another assistant coach today as well too, and you see them. He's interacting, trying to learn what's going on. He's staying involved, learning the play calls, and you can see him trying it going through his mind, like trying to know what he has to do on specific routes and everything too. So, I mean, it'll be a little bit. I think he's gonna be out rest of the preseason, but it'll be a little bit for him to get back into the swing of things. He'll probably stay in shape best as he can, but that injury, that knee injury, it won't. I don't think it's going to be that serious.
Okay. Now, what about the other big guy everybody's talking about, Mr. 6'7", like 250, Tyree Jackson, the tight end? Is he awesome as everybody's talking about, or does everybody just need to pump their brakes on him?
I want to see how he's done very well in camp. I mean, Joe Flacco has even said that he's been excellent. He's like, it helps to have a former quarterback play a position like that, just like we saw the last few years with Greg Ward. When you have a former quarterback that can read defenses, know where the open spots are going to potentially be at, and then sit down there, and that helps. And then to be that size and to flash a bigger target, because normally if you have a 5'11" receiver in the middle of the field, you have so many defensive linemen, you have the linebackers, you try to get in that second level, and it's tough to find it. It can't really flash. When you have somebody 6'7", 250 in the middle of it, that's a big, wide target you can't try to hit. And I like the fact that he's catching the ball more with his hands. And that's where you see a lot of bigger receivers, especially tight ends, they like to try to catch it, bring it into their body, and everything can go either which way and bounces off. I like that he's catching his hands cleanly for the most part. And I think the main thing is going to be, I want to see how he does with blocking, because it's a lot of things that are not really told. Like if they go 3 tight ends per se, and he somehow snuck on the roster, I want to see how, especially this week, this on Thursday, I want to see how he can hold his own in a run blocking game. I mean, he's big enough; he doesn't have to try to pancake everybody, but if he gets enough in the way and is effective enough, that's all he needs. And he may have played his way to a spot where it's going to be tough to try to sneak him onto the practice squad. I think if he proves he can be a decent blocker, his receiving talent's there, it's going to be tough to try to sneak him for the league not to notice him and try to sneak him on the practice squad.
Yeah, they say he ran something like a 4.3 40 or something like that.
I'm not sure the 40 time, because I just remember seeing him in Buffalo when he played Temple, and I thought at the time, like, this guy could actually be a decent quarterback. And obviously, he switched the position to give himself a better chance at playing long term. This guy has. You just think of all the former quarterbacks and quarterbacks you have on this roster, and the athleticism guys have. It's intriguing. It was so much so that they pretty much moved Hakeem Butler back over to wide receiver to give him a better chance to make the roster. Like Hakeem Butler now is listed as a wide receiver instead of a tight end. So little things like that is just crazy.
And Killen's, so he finally is a receiver now.
Yep. Yeah. He's right. The experiment. He tried it. The experiment wasn't. It didn't work out. It looks like. I mean, he pretty much was a wide receiver, even though he was the tight end. Like when he came to red zone, a couple games late last year, just throw the ball up to him and try to go use him as a wide receiver. He really is a wide receiver. He stayed as a wide receiver, so it gives Jackson more snaps.
Yeah, exactly. What about the rest of them backs back there? Miles Sanders, how did he look at open practice?
Sanders was looking all right. Basically, they ran the ball. Basically, it's tough to do when it comes to those runs because you're not in full pads and you're not really tackling to the ground. But you didn't see any missed assignments there. You see, basically, when it came to Scott, they were doing all right. Gainwell hold his own. Basically, all the backs have hold his own. It was one of the things where they worked on a lot of short passing routes when it came to that, and then when it came to runs, it's like, oh, he's on somebody to push into the line. But overall, as a camp overall, if I go to Sanders has done well. I think he can have a really good bounce back year, and given the way the offense looks like it's trending to go, if you just go off the base stuff, he can have a decent year, especially with that line back. And then you look at I think the one thing I kind of liked was when they went to the 2 running back set, they ran Sanders and Scott. And I like that. They call it the pony, the speed option, the pony. You can do so much out of that because you can either bring Scott across the middle on like a jet sweep, or you can run them out in passes and get mismatches against linebackers. There's so much you can do with those backs there, and it'll be interesting to see how they utilize them and deploy them against some of these defenses.
Someone said that Howard's running with the backup running back there.
Howard's been running with the twos a lot, and because the reason no is because he's been in check down for Flacco a lot. It's like Flacco goes, okay, he'll look at his outlet. Okay, he's not. I'll just throw it this way too. He'll look at Jackson. He'll look at two routes. It's not there. He'll just throw that one. Jackson's been doing that, but Howard's been doing that. But I think overall Howard's had a decent camp. Like all these guys have pretty much held their own. The only running back, quote unquote, is not even really a running back now. It's wide receivers. Adrian Killen's been. You haven't really noticed, and he's been running with the wide receivers now. So overall, another position where it's going to be tough to decide who stays on and who we try to sneak through when it comes to the overall roster.
So if he's running with the twos, that means what? Boston's running with the ones.
Boston's running with the ones. Kerryon Johnson's running a lot with the twos. Huntley's running with the threes, sometimes going to twos, depending on different looks they're giving. I think he's a guy I want to see how he does coming up on Thursday against that, because if he gets an edge, he can create a lot of problems. So it'll be interesting to see what he does there. But Holyfield will be running with the threes too. So interesting.
Holyfield, yeah. Some free time work. At least he's doing that depth chart there. He's playing with somebody.
Yeah.
He's on the sidelines chilling. That's good though, because I wanted to see Holyfield. How does he look strong? Does he play as strong as he looks? Basically, is what I want to say. When I see him on TV, man, he looks like a beast.
He's big. He's a big physical back, and he hasn't really had a chance to show it yet because on the short yardage because they haven't tackled to the ground. Mm-hmm. And when you see a guy like that, when I think 3rd and 3, or I think if there's a role where it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, you need to pick up the first down. There's 4 minutes left to go in a game. And you want to try to pick up that first down, could keep milk the clock in your 4-minute offense. That suits him very well. Short yardage guy. He's gotten better. I think in the receiving game, I think he's gotten better. Problem is, where do you fit him at? Who are you going to cut? Are you going to cut Johnson? Are you going to cut Huntley? Are you going to cut Howard? Are you going to cut? You're not cutting Sanders. We all know that. Yeah, there's so many guys. Yeah, ain't happening. There's so many things to go. So it's just numbers. I mean, it's a deep position. I think he's a guy. It depends on what he's looking for to do. If he's comfortable coming back on a practice squad, I think he'll have a job here. But if he says, "Hey, you know what? I want to go somewhere else to get a chance,"
he's probably gonna be out of here.
Too. Yeah.
The same with Killens, right? You don't think he'd make it either?
I think Killens is too deep because he's been running mainly. I think I got to double check again. I think he was officially listed as a wide receiver now too, because he was rarely running with the running backs, but he's a tweener. It's one of those, you see certain plays where you can run him, but is it enough to run him, keep him on a roster? He doesn't return kicks regularly. He doesn't return punts regularly. I mean, you could use him as a gunner, but he's a shorter gunner. It's tough to find a true position for him. He's got speed. He can catch the ball. It's just where do you put him?
Kickoff return there. That would be a nice spot.
Him that back there, Huntley, him. I'm not, after what happened this preseason, I'm not putting Smith back there again unless you want to use him like a Deshaun Jackson type where you need to make a play, but that's it.
What about Rager, though? Because I was thinking that would be a good punt returner.
I was surprised they didn't use him last year anymore. And he does well. Yeah, he does well when it comes to finding that lane quickly and accelerating through the hole. And I think a lot of people last year were wondering a question like why this guy can do well in tight space, not only catching the punts, but finding that quick lane. And he's somebody I want to see back there a little bit more. And I think it's something I wouldn't do preseason because you already have Smith out, but it's something I would keep going, like having him practice catching up to the regular season. When the regular season starts, I put him back there. If I was make a play.
Who's getting the most catches back there?
That one I'm not really watching as much because I'm watching the quarterbacks. Because usually when they go to special teams, they split them out. Just looking quickly, I've seen Huntley, I've seen Killens, and that's what I've seen. Just looking briefly when the quarterbacks are doing their own thing. But it's a lot of different. They have options that guys have experienced have done it before. So it's gonna be interesting to see who they finally settle on.
Oh yeah, what was the story? Vic 3 said, "What's the story on John Hightower?"
With John, it's inconsistency. You'll see him run he's everybody knows he can run that 9 route. He can blow past that cornerback. The thing is going to be if can he consistently run the other routes that are on the tree that the team likes to use, and B, can he consistently catch those long balls when he has a chance to do it? And it's
That's
tough
the
to do
big
that.
problem.
I'm not going to say like, hey, it's the easiest thing to do, because it's tough to not only track the ball down, not only try to find where the safety and cornerback is, and then, oh, yeah, you still have to catch the ball. It's tough. I know they get paid a lot of money to do that, but it's still tough to do. But you can't just run go routes every time you're out there, because then, you become predictable. You have to learn how to run the other things. And there'll be times when he runs a really good, say he runs a dig route, or it goes like 10, 15 yards and goes right in. He does a really good job of that. And then he comes back and runs the same route, and it looks a lot, he throws the timing off. And even Nick Sirianni, there's one time where he ran over and he made sure to put like, that was a good job running the route. And then a couple of plays later, he runs the same thing, and it was just off. And it's like, what's going on? You thought, it's consistency with him, and also doesn't help that he's on the sidelines now too. So it's.
You think he's getting cut?
I put him on a bubble. I wouldn't say, because he's proven that he's caught a couple long passes in his leagues, which is tough to do. So, but I put him on a. I won't outright say he's getting cut, but I put him on a bubble given the way that Quez Watkins is playing and everybody else is. So it's sad to see, because he has talent. Just wants to put them together.
He just got to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like, so many times he was wide open, man, didn't catch the ball. Yeah. Like, that's all you got to do is catch it. Like, now you're a star. People will think you're a star at least because you're catching all these deep balls, but he's not catching all of them. What's the point of getting open if you're not going to catch the ball? That's what I think.
And just think, when it sets up, if we have a long ball threat like that, it just sets up so much stuff for your other stuff for your offense, because then you have to shade a safety over to take care of to say, hey, don't want to get beat. And then that safety, who may have been in the box trying to stop the run, has to stay back. So now that opens up your run lane. When you have a deep threat, if you have a deep threat that consistently gets down the field and catch the ball, it just does so much. And you hope that he would develop. Maybe Watkins develops to that guy, and then now you really open up things for your offense. So it depends on consistency. That seems like the word saying a lot, but it's true. Consistency, and it happens when you're young. Stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. Now, Milton Williams, I seen the highlight of him looking strong, big, doing this thing at that open practice. What'd you see?
Overall, he's had a good camp. I mean, you can see you can see why they took him, given his versatility playing defensive end, defensive tackle. Because I'll take a guy, if I'm the Eagles, I'll take a guy who can create penetration and push the pocket in, and collapse it a little bit. Because especially if you play a 3-4, he fits that, because he can play that 3 technique and push it, go out to a little bit 5 as well too if he needs to, and push the guys back in and then allow those defensive ends or outside linebackers to crash in. He plays that well. And then if you want to go, hey, you know what? We want to go big and stop the running backs, you have that as well too. So he gives you enough versatility to do that. And for a rookie, and for him, I think he should focus on just making sure that he doesn't have to. I don't think he has to worry about sack total. I think he has to play his gaps well and be enough of a nuisance inside to occupy 2 offensive linemen, like say the center and the guard, or even a guard tackle. And then just occupy 2 offensive linemen and let those ends crash, or outside linebackers spin on the alignment and let them crash and create the havoc for sacks.
Nice. How's Singleton looking since
he's back? I mean, coming back, he's looked all right. I mean, I love the story that he told about how he had to, because he was away from, because he tested positive COVID, he had to use his hallway to keep his shape with when it came to his sprints. It's like an 11-yard hallway in his house that he had to keep using, and then he said that 11 yards come quickly, so he's trying to get the quick burst there, and then he had a kettlebell in there. He's trying to get strong that way, looking on YouTube videos and just using some of the stuff he knew already. So for a guy who's missed a lot of time, he looks like he hasn't lost a beat. His conditioning looks like it's okay. I mean, so I think overall, adding him to the mix, I think as a starter, I think he's going to be one of the starters. I think he'll be all right. I think he's been all right.
Him and Wilson starting, right?
Yep, him and Eric Wilson are starting. Yep, you mix in TJ Edwards depending on the alignment, and if you want to go base that way too. And that's when you think about this team when it goes 3-4, even if they go 3-4 or 4-3, just they can mix and match a lot, and they've been getting pressure during camp.
Ooh, nice. Because our boy Josh Sweat, and did he look like the beast that everybody thinks he is out there on that open practice?
He's been, if I had to give just not even just the open practice, but overall camp, if I had to give, say, one guy on the defense has been the best player during training camp, it's been Sweat. It's been completely disruptive. You've seen even on Mailata, it doesn't matter if it's Mailata Dillard, when you just see him get inside their pad levels and those tackles, they're trying to get their arms extended to try to make sure they get it. He's quick inside, getting inside that pad level, and he's just sometimes, and because Dillard, he's just bull rushing guys right back into almost near the quarterback, like forcing them to scramble. So he's been doing very, very well. And over time, you want to see what he does against other competition. Yeah, exactly. And you want to see if he can sustain this long term. And just like Barnett, the thing was, if he stays healthy, he can do really well. And that's the thing. If he's looks like he's in really good shape. He continues to train. He's still learning everything. He's still interacting with the veterans and picking their brains when it comes to that too. So he's putting it all together, and it could be a really good season for him.
Another guy I haven't heard too much about is, what about the other side there? What's up with Brandon Graham?
Graham's doing all right. He's still steady. Blah blah. I can't talk. Staying steady. There we go. Staying steady. He's doing well. They've been giving he's been one of the veterans when they give time off. Him, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey. They've been giving him meetings. They try to keep him fresh. And I mean, Brandon Graham, he is not many fronts and different things he hasn't seen before. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to burn him into the ground. You just want to make sure he's fresh and ready for regular season. But he's looked all right. I mean, he's not the offense is worried about trying to account for him when they're trying to go against him. He's doing all right. So overall, he's pretty good one too. I'm sorry?
I said, who's been coming in for him? Because isn't the Kerrigan still out? He's day too, right?
He's been back here and there. So you've seen that. So you have Kerrigan coming in. You have Osman coming in. You've seen Williams lineman for 2-4. Yeah, Joe's smoking Joe, as Jordan Mailata likes to say on that for too. So you have guys that are, I mean, they run a lot of defensive ends in and out. Jaquan Bailey, he's another guy, draft free agent. So they've been running some guys out in and out there, and they're just trying to get a lot of looks and different to try to see what they have and trying to find the right pieces. They've been mixing that all up.
But that D line looks good. It looks like they're gonna be solid this year, like everybody thinks they are.
It looks like that the D line is. If I had to say the strength on that defense, D line is going to be it because they're deep. They pretty much have a player that can fit any type of situation. Your pass, strength, rush, run block. And I think they can mix and match that way too. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Okay. And what about our other rookie, Mr. McPherson? How's he doing out there?
He started out camp very well in flying out there, and he's taking it and he's looking like he's getting a little bit more comfortable. There are times when he during the one-on-one wide receiver cornerback drills during today's practice, he got beat a couple of times, but that's because he's seeing some different routes. I forget who it was, but I think it was Andre Patton, one of the veteran guy, gave him a little in and out, and he bit. So, and you see that a lot with rookies when you say they want to make the play, they usually first move, they jump in. But it was cool to see Darius Slay pull him aside, like after he was done his reps. Darius Slay pulled him aside there, and they were talking for a good minute, saying, "Hey," and you can tell him he's giving him pointers, and build his confidence. He did well. So McPherson, I'll be honest, McPherson has looked better than I thought he would, because I question a lot of Big 12 cornerbacks. Especially given that conference, you see 61-50 games all the time when it seems like. Right. But he's getting used to the stuff, and he's doing all right.
Okay, and what about our boy Nelson? I heard he had a good practice today.
Who was that?
Steve Nelson.
Steve Nelson, yeah, I will say this. Steve Nelson's gotten better as each practice goes on, because when it first started out,
he was getting toasted.
It was getting some rough moments when it came there, but he was getting back into the swing of things, and didn't help when he signed. Basically, he was signed a couple Sundays ago. So came into camp, got ready, trying to digest everything quickly because he wasn't here for the OTAs. So he looks like he's getting more acclimated with the system. It's like he's covering out. He's doing better in coverage as well, and he just looks like he's fully understanding the full concept. Saying, okay, if I'm going to be here, the safety's going to be here, the linebacker's going to be here, and lines this way. It looks like he's finally putting it all together, and you see that with a veteran guy. He's going to do that, and so I thought he's doing all right, and continue just to get more comfortable with the defense
And
as
I
it goes
want you to be
along.
worried. All them early burns was just him just getting adjusted. Getting adjusted to the system. He's not going to be getting toasted every down once we get to game time.
And also, when it comes to it, it's just if his team plays a lot of zone, if they do have zone, he'll have some help over the top too. So unless there's a breakdown where the safety goes, okay, oh, what's this? It's tight end. Let me go this way. No, 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 and then beat that way too. But even then, I still think he holds his own. He'll hold his own over time.
What do you think we're going to do this preseason game? What are you expecting to see from everybody? And what are you looking forward to seeing?
I just want to see the main thing for offensively. I want to see if they can sustain drives, especially on third downs. That's what I really want to see because they even held their third down. I kid you not, they called it this. They called it the third down jamboree today. They had a section of the period where they were working on nothing but third down, like 35, 36. And for an offense, a young offense especially, to be successful, you have to build confidence, sustain these long drives. And I want to see how, especially in that, we don't know how long the first team offense is going to be in because Nick Sirianni said he's still developing that. He didn't know he want to put number of series or anything on there. I want to see how that first team offense deals with some adversity early on. And I want to see how the play call mechanics go on as well, too. Because we found this out today, too. Nick Sirianni is going to be a play caller, but he's relaying the play to Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, who then will relay the play back into the quarterbacks. So I want to see how that is the first time in a game that they're going to be doing this. And you want to give enough time for your quarterback to – like that 15-second mark, you want to give enough time to your quarterback to get to the line, see what the fronts are doing, and then make checks if he needs to and go from there. So I want to see how that works. And mainly third downs. Defensively, I want to see them try to go for that ball a lot. They put Jonathan Gannon has put a big emphasis on trying to create a lot of turnovers, whether it be stripping the ball or even when it comes to interceptions, and especially the stripping the ball because these guys, I think it's either Steven Nelson, somebody said like I forget who it was. It was one defensive guy back said that first week in there is like his hand was he had something in the hand because they were trying to rip the ball out from his running backs every time. So I want to see if that carries over to the games and they're really trying to do that. I mean, we won't see. Don't expect to see the full playbook on either side, but I want to see how they guys and they're able to compete and hold their own tomorrow or Thursday. Ooh, feels Thursday.
Yeah, I'm hoping at least the starters at least play a quarter. I think it'd be good for them to get full quarter in. They don't have to play too much longer than that. But I don't want it to be like one or two drives like the normal first preseason game is because I think this is a new team, new system. Give them some time out there to be hitting other people and let out some of that anger, test testosterone out there.
And especially with having you lose a preseason game this year too, so you don't have that extra things. You don't have extra time because after you go the first three, there's a long layoff before September 12th starts. The season starts September 12th. A long layoff. So you want to see these guys get their work in against the defense. And I'll say this: I can't. The other thing is like Thursday is really good. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to those joint practices the week after because that's going to be. I'm looking forward to that. It's the Steelers on Thursday and then Patriots joint practice against the Patriots the following week. Then they have joint practices with the Jets the week after that. But I want to see the Patriots one.
That's gonna be some good practice in there. Get to see some good players over there on the Patriots. See how their teams come along. I think this year with all of them coming back that were out from COVID last year and some of the additions they made, man, they should look pretty good. They should be pretty good over there on that side of the ball. Belichick get back to his winning ways again. Yeah. But hey, man. Before I let you go, one more guy I want to talk about I didn't get to talk about is what has Landon been doing?
Landon's been on the sideline. He's they really want to, and I'm okay with what they're doing. Is you don't want to rush him back because this team, the offensive line depth, even before they drafted him, was okay, and he's been on the sideline. He's been staying around Jeff Stoutland. I've seen a couple questions too because. I love Jeff Stoutland's reactions sometimes. So he's been asking questions. He's been there. He's been engaged from what I heard in the room as well too. So he's there. I don't think there's any rush whatsoever. And
drills at all? No, nothing.
No. He's still out there. He's still on a. Even though you would think like, hey, he injured his knee playing football. He's on a non-football injury list because it happened when he was at Alabama. So. You won't see him. I think if you see him, I wouldn't be surprised if he's put on PUP. I would do that personally because you don't need him. You don't need him right away. You don't you have what's the name? You have Suapeta. You have Luke Jarigas look good, in my opinion, as the backup center. Suapeta, Jack Driscoll, and you have Nate Herbig as your backup guards in the interior thing. And Herbig, that's one guy I gotta say on the offensive line has really like he's bought in and has changed things. He looks slimmer, he looks quicker. I mean, the fact that he said he had to readjust because he's gotten quicker now. He's adjusted his angles to that for it. I think that bodes well for me. He's been playing a little bit center too, which is great.
Right? He lost like 40 pounds.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks more trimmer. He's in shape and he looks good. So so given all those guys there, I wouldn't rush Dickerson. You just use him as, I think this, for lack of better words, use this year as like his internship. Have follow Kelsey around. Let him see how he studies film. Let him pick Kelsey's brain, what to do against certain fronts. What does this guy do? This guy do? And just let him be ready for a 2022 season and let him
maybe get some practice. Maybe after what? When you're going to publish, you're out for the first 6 weeks.
6 or 8, I believe 6 or 8. I forget one of those two because Alshon Jeffrey he had to all that last year.
Right? Yeah, and let him do that little pub thing, and then like after he gets off of that, let him get some practice in at least. I want to see him at least get in the game or two. You know, I think he's going to be one of them generational type linemen, and it'd be good just to get him in there. You know, even if it's just, give Kelsey a break for a game. Or if we're up a lot, give him a chance to get in there and get some reps, so he can come into next year at least having some reps against some other teams so he know what the NFL is really all about because he was a road grader in college. So,
and the way that they play offensive line with Jeff Stoutland always talking about angles when it talks about power in the middle, he's got the size. I mean, he's big. There's no doubt about it. He's big and potentially seeing him go against some of those defensive tackles and running up the middle in that zone blocking scheme could be a really good thing, getting to the next level because him on the way linebacker sizes are now, him going against a linebacker in the open field, that could look really well.
And then I don't know, I just feel like you don't want him just sitting there since he's just used to playing all the time. You don't want him to sit there the whole year and not really do anything. You know what I'm saying? That might be. You think that could be a downs?
I would say for him, it's because you use a second round pick for him. I'm not rushing him back at all. I mean, you can still give him side work. You can still have him work on his knee. Like basically, I'd get him side work in the training room and make sure that knee is completely 100% healthy. Because given his history with his knees already, he hasn't even taken a snap in there. That's something you don't want to mess with his career before he's there. So it's no rush. I mean, IR him. I would do it. It's possible to do that too. There's so many things. Just because they have the new rule now, we can IR somebody for 3 games and you're out that way too. So there's a lot. There may be some moves that the Eagles make to protect us to try to maximize who can stay on the roster. Him, I wouldn't mind seeing him just given that what they have on the roster. I wouldn't mind seeing him put on a pup list, and then once he's on a pup list, you can still use all the other guys and eventually bring him back later on if there's more injuries. But I put him on a pup list.
So you're saying if no one gets hurt this season on that offensive line, just let them ride to next year.
Let them ride. Let it ride. Let it ride.
Let them scout team offense against their starters at the end of the season.
I would
get a chance to go against guys like Fletch at least in practice. You know what I'm saying? Just some good talent to get them ready for next year. Like I'm not, like you said, after the pup list, maybe like week 9, 10 or something like that if he's completely healthy. I thought he said he thought he was going to be able to be healthy by the beginning of the season, but they decided don't.
I think a lot of guys like you don't want to like because the last thing you want to do is like guys, I'm not going to be ready. Yeah, I'll sit back. I don't want to play football now because they're like, you really want to play this? You just collect their check. Like I think a lot of guys say that, and I think he truly believes if this might be a way to save him from himself. That's another thing too, because the last thing he would go, "Oh, I'm good, I'm healthy." Meanwhile, I feel something.
Money.
Because I think given a chance, like even that last play they brought him in during the I want to say the SEC, either SEC championship game or the playoff, either one. I forget which one where he had that torn ACL and they brought him out to center. Knowing him, he probably would have gone out there and tried to actually run a true play instead of like taking a knee. He probably would have gone, "Oh no, I'm good enough."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely crazy. Well, hey man, thanks again for coming on, giving us that weekly insight, my guy. Much love to you, and Enjoy them birds this week, man. You get to go. Are you gonna be at the game?
Yep, I'll be there. I'll be definitely be there, and looking forward to giving reports and everything on NJ.com and going from there. Man. But
All
Bird
right.
Gang, thanks, man, for having me on. I truly appreciate it, man. It's always fun talking.
No problem, my guy. Till next time, guys. Thanks for joining in. Everybody in the chat, much love, and hit that like on your way out. Make sure you're reading this guy's article here. He's on YouTube. Go ahead and break it down. YouTube, I mean not YouTube, Twitter.
Oh yeah, Twitter, C Franklin News, Instagram, C Franklin News. If somebody doesn't try to block some of the videos, I'll be good on that. That's a funny
They
story.
blocking them?
They blocked one of the things because there was a music in the background of I was taking a video and the music background. I was like, why can't I get my Twitter account? And this is probably like Tony has put a thing in there from a tweet that I did like 2 practices before. So yeah, I'm like, okay,
What?
pull them. They block like just mute it, like whatever.
I
But
thought you had
yeah,
all that access, my guy. They blocking YouTube?
just for music. Yeah, just for music. It came from UK, but if what I started doing now is some of the videos I just go ahead and make silent. So I'll put as many videos as I can to show like what the quarterbacks are doing and some of the other stuff with the running backs. So see Franklin News on Instagram and Twitter, and then nj.com/Eagles. See stories right up on there too.
Yeah, great write up. I remember Big V says to give you some love on the last article you wrote. He loved it. And
Thanks,
yeah,
man. Appreciate it, man.
Stuff, man. I try
Appreciate
to
it, man.
retweet as much of it as possible, my guy.
Game, man. Hey, man, it's always talking to you. I appreciate it, man. Seriously, it's always great talking to you, man. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night. And all you guys out there, enjoy the rest of your night. I'm about to go finish cooking some dinner. So, like I always say, fly, Eagles, fly. And until next time, Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk, Bird Gang 31, we are out. Peace.